I always say in my videos that there is only one scale in the universe. What do I mean by that? I'm going to use a Rubik's Cube to explain it to you. So you must be thinking, what does this have to do with music? I played around with this cube for a while and I got tired of making this pattern. So I tried other patterns. So I'll give you an example. So this is what I meant with exploring other patterns. So look at this, this is nice. And the cool thing about this is that it is a mirror image. If you flip it, you see the mirror image, right? So I'll make another pattern. I tried making a mirror image of this, but one brick wasn't cooperating. So I tried something else. I didn't follow this pattern, so I'll show you what I made. It's like this on one side, and it's like this on the other side. It's a totally different pattern. So it's very interesting because two very different patterns can exist in one cube that has perfect symmetry. So that's one. Another thing that you can learn from this is that there are 6 sides, right? And the 6 sides, they can form a perfect symmetry. They are all equal to each other. If you count it, including the cube, that's 7. And you have 7 modes. What does this cube have to do with music? Music has perfect symmetry. Let's take a look at the major chord progression first. So this is the table of the major chord progression. I'm not going to include the sharps and the flats or the semitones because that in itself does not have perfect symmetry. Then let's highlight in red all of those with sharps and flats. So let's go back to the table. As you can see here, only one is left. So there is only one scale with perfect symmetry. You might think, hey, this is a chord progression. Yes, the chord progression is a mirror of your scale. So let's take a look at the minor chord progression. The minor chord progression is just substituting notes or rearranging the notes. So they're also one. You will notice the same thing. If you highlight it in red, there will only be one that has perfect symmetry. If we put them together, the major chord progression and the minor chord progression, let us include the mirror or the scale, first in letters, and let's put the generic names, which is Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, as we all know. So let's put it to the side first because I'm going to show you a rearrangement. You will begin to see, if you rearrange it, that they are all just the same. So all of the notes of the minor is inside all of the notes of the major. Let's get rid of the duplication. Let's put them closer together. And we can safely say now that C major is equal to A minor. This was what I was trying to explain earlier with the Rubik's Cube. Two seemingly unrelated patterns can exist in a perfect system. But it doesn't end there. Knowing the system will enable you to play along around 80 to 90% of the songs. So you might want to ask, so what happens to the 10 to 20%? You have to remember that these are modes. It's an Ionian and an Aeolian mode. And if you go back to what I said earlier, the cube has 6 sides which forms 1, so that's 7. The 7 modes will form one perfect system. So it's safe to say that all of the modes, if you are in the same key, are all equal to each other. And that is why the concept of one works. And if you know this, you can be able to play any song using one scale. So how do modes work? It is just simply prioritizing one position in the scale. So for Ionian, you start with the first chord in your progression and the first note. For example, for Aeolian, you start with the 6th chord in the progression and the 6th note. And if you have Lydian, you will prioritize the 4th chord in the progression and the 4th note. It's that simple. So I made a finger system to guide people how to find your key. I'm going to highlight the Ionian key because it's a system that has been used for centuries already. But always remember that this is a powerful formula. C major is equal to A minor. Knowing this secret alone will enable you to play along with 80 to 90% of the songs that you hear. As I have always said, there is only one scale in the universe. Today I'm going to complete that statement. There is only one scale that is in perfect symmetry. Understand how it works and you can be able to play along with any song in the universe.